Yeah.
Hey, y'all. Yes, so long day, short video because we're both still running. But it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is our life. This is what we do every day. So, if you have not joined us and this is your first video, we are Catherine and Jermaine. We are the creators behind Yoked, where we're teaching couples that happy marriages start before the ring, and basically you guys got to keep doing it forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and
Yep.
ever.
Do it forever.
Yes, forever, ever, ever, ever. Okay, I'll stop. This is what happens. This is what happens when I'm tired. Sorry.
Okay. So what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about building a true friendship. So we're very quickly approaching 7 years of marriage, but we have been best friends for 11 years.
Yeah. Long time.
Yeah, pretty much from, I guess our first conversations. Hey, Sybil. From our first conversations, we really developed a really great friendship. He very quickly became my best friend, and I can say without hesitation that the friendship that we developed helped sustain us through a lot of things in the friendship stage, through the dating stage, and especially in our marriage. Because, at least from my perspective, and I'll ask the counselor how he feels about it, but
The husband.
the husband, the counselor husband. We need to come up with a name for you. Housler.
Not a hustler.
Hustler. Never mind. At least from my perspective, when I have friendships that I treasure and value, it's very important to me that I maintain those friendships. When I have friendships that are, true, deep, and long friendships, I work very hard to make sure that there is no animosity, that we have an understanding, that we can communicate, that, we're always making sure that we're there for each other. And the crazy thing is, most people are pretty well equipped doing that for friendships, but they never think to translate it into a relationship or into a marriage. So I've over the years, I've talked to a lot of women who were like, "Oh, I have this best guy friend," and I'm like, well, "Why aren't y'all dating?" "Well, no, he's my best friend. He knows too much about me," and I'm like, "You need to date that guy unless you know too much about them and it's not good stuff, then you may want to run away." But so, what do you think about that? Just the whole, friendship thing.
It's very necessary in a long-term, especially romantic marriage deal. The best way to start off with that is by, I think with us, I went into our friendship or our relationship seeking first to get to know you.
Yeah.
And getting to know you without any judgments or bias or preconceived notions, prejudice, anything. Whatever I learned about you, that's what it was. It wasn't like I was learning things about you to try to find out any dirt on you or to find out how much I could get from you or to find out what I could get from you. It was just me learning about you.
Right. And Sybil says there's nothing better than an understanding in any type of relationship. That, as Katie said, that's incredibly true. And I'm just kind of, thinking over the years, even, we've been married for 7 years, and even to this day, when we get mad at each other, and it does happen, it's rare, but it does happen that we get mad at each other. Even when I'm mad at him or he's mad at me, we still love each other as friends. Like, I might not like you as a husband at the moment, but I still love you as my friend. And because we have that strong friendship, it's easier for us to come back together and say, okay, this is what happened. This is how I feel about it. What can we do going forward? And I want to ask you this. I didn't mean for this to turn into an interview, but but just, not disclosing details, but, when you're counseling couples, doing marriage counseling, what things have you seen that let you know that they don't have a friendship, and how has that affected how they deal with their marriage?
Usually when I hear things like they don't do blank enough, or they are not blank enough, or basically what you're telling me is you haven't accepted that person for who they are. Mm. You're in your mind, you've created this perception of who this person is supposed to be, and because they're not who you've built them up to be in your mind, you're mad at them, or you treat them a certain way, or you think they're not good enough for you as a spouse. And that's really unfair to build up some idealistic image in your brain about your spouse or your intimate partner and hold them to that. And some people don't even tell them. Some people don't even tell the other person that I built up, this, golden image of you in my brain. And because you're not that, I'm going to beat you until you get there.
And I think
when I say beat, I don't mean like physically.
No, not physically.
But I mean like emotionally and verbally and
just kind of drill it into you.
Yeah, like just say you're not enough, you're garbage, you're a loser, you're terrible. And people will literally, think themselves or imagine themselves out of a really good relationship.
Mm. Wow. I'm hearing what you're saying, and I think about what women especially, and I know men do it too to an extent, but women especially will
guilty.
We'll get with a guy and date him for his potential, or marry somebody for their potential, and think, okay, if I get with this person and I do X, Y, and Z, it'll turn them into the person that I want them to be. And then when they are not that person, then we're, pissed off because you're not what I thought you were. You're not what I think you could be, and I deserve better. They showed you who they were. And that's another thing. A lot of times, we get with someone and they show us exactly who they are. And we just, dismiss it because we think they could be better, or we can make them better. Mm-hmm. And the truth of the matter is, people are going to be who they are. What you have control over is, are you going to accept that, or are you not going to accept it? And that's not to say that, people can't grow to be better people, but you have to go into it with your eyes wide open. Don't jump into a relationship, as I have been very guilty of doing, many, many times in the past. Oh yeah, setting yourself up for disappointment. And look, I have been disappointed a lot in life. We both have, because we've, gone into situations and thinking, okay, if I just do these little things, if I maneuver it a little way, and really kind of, I think, skipped the establishment of a true solid friendship. Because when you're friends with someone, when you agree to let them in, you're really, you should really be taking the time to get to know them. And I think that's what, we were friends for 2 years before we even started dating. Mm-hmm. And, we had, hey Danielle, we had a lot of time to really get to know one another and say, okay, am I going to accept this, or am I not going to accept this? And, even to this day, we kind of, we joke around. I'm so weird, y'all. I really am. He asked me, he's gotten to the point now where he asked me, he's like, why are you always dancing? So guilty of attempting to fix someone. Girl, we can do a talk about that. We're going to do a whole talk about that. We got to. But like, I'll dance around the house and he's like, why are you always dancing? And I'm like, I hear the music in my head. And he just kind of laughs. And then my retort is, you chose this. I'm always like, you made this decision. You decided to be with me. And he's like, yeah, I did. But the matter of at hand is that he accepts me for who I am, for all of my quirks and my flaws, and the things that he loves about me, the things that he doesn't like about me. He still loves me as a person because we have a true friendship. And a friendship, when you're best friends with the person that you marry, oh my gosh, like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think we have a pretty good marriage.
Yes.
So how many years have we been in our honeymoon bubble?
Almost 7 years. Almost 7 years.
Right. We, as far as, you typically have the first year is the honeymoon phase of marriage, where everything is just wonderful and butterflies and sunshine. But we're 7 years in, we're still in our bubble. And what?
Yeah. We're in the bubble. But I think we've intentionally taken steps to, okay, once we have like a disagreement or an argument, the bubble is popped. But then we take steps to rebuild the bubble. I think where other couples may fail or may stumble is that once they're in that love bubble after marriage, it gets popped by an argument, but then no one takes ownership or leadership to help repair the bubble. And it's just, well, it'll get better in time, or it'll get better, next week.
Yeah.
And they don't actually address why the bubble popped in the first place.
Right. And I mean, and I was going to say, it's not to say that we've had, 7 perfect years and we haven't had any conflict at all. But, even staying within that bubble, or, being able to go back into that bubble, is because of our friendship and how we are able to communicate with each other, and how we are intentional about communicating with each other so that the bubble can be repaired.
Yeah.
Because, we're genuinely happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No,
I was going to say, even as we do kind of like a husband-wife inventory, once or twice a year, and, talk to each other and say, are we, am I still a good wife? Is there something that I'm not doing that you would want me to do more? Is there something I'm doing too much of? What needs are not being met? And I think it's an act of humility. It's an act of like the servant kind of love, because he's my best friend. I want to make sure that he's happy for as much as I can, contribute to your happiness. Like, I'm not in control of your happiness, but I can absolutely affect it. Mm-hmm. So, I'm sorry, what were you going to say earlier?
So I think a long time ago, just like 10 years ago, I wrote something, and I didn't realize how many people needed to hear it. I think I was just kind of venting about my own frustrations with just friends in general, and how I would place expectations on them as my friends. And I realized that doing that wasn't really fair to them. Because here's the thing. When I would say, I don't like it when this person does X, I forget like the first 3 or 4 words I say, and think the problem is really with my friend. I forgot that I was starting that sentence with, I don't like. And because I was saying, I don't like, that means I'm the one with the problem, not my friend. My friend is not the one with the problem. It doesn't matter what my friend does. What it's up to me is if I'm going to accept my friend's behavior or words or opinion or stance or not. It's really up to me if I want to say to that person, I don't like it when this, or I don't like it when you do that, or, I don't like it when we make plans and you cancel at the last minute, or I don't like it when, you call me, I don't like it when you call me at 11:30 at night. I'm sleeping. I really wish you wouldn't call me. It's up to me whether or not I want to say something or not. Mm-hmm. Either way, it doesn't really matter. What really matters is, am I going to continue to accept this person's behavior or not?
Right. And, when you apply that same kind of logic to relationships, I think it gives you the freedom to be more secure. Let me see. Oh. Yes, Danielle.
I
It's
can't read
she said that
that. I should be able to read it.
she says I stay putting my expectations on others, working daily to stop it. It's hard because a lot of times I think switch from when you really start to embrace an agape love, you're you're able to give more grace to people. You're able to extend more mercy to them and more understanding, and it frees you to really accept yourself for who you are and accept the other person for who they are, because they may be able to let you down, or they may let you down because we fail people, but their failures are not going to determine your trajectory. They're not going to determine where you're going, what you're doing, how you're feeling. I think the phrase was the phrase, he who angers you controls you.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to let go of, what did she say? Oh my gosh, Sybil, yes. I struggle with that. She said that I have to remember everyone is not like me and I cannot expect them to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to release the whole I feel, you make me feel, and just say, okay, this happened. What am I going to do going forward?
Mm-hmm.
And how am I going to behave going forward? And, to bring that back even into a dating or a marital relationship, when your partner lets you down or you let them down, having that foundation allows you to say, okay, my partner disappointed me. They didn't meet my expectations. I need to release those expectations and deal with, okay, this is what has happened. What are we going to do to move forward? And that's one of the hardest things for people to do. Why do you think that it's hard for people to do that?
We're selfish. it's, we're selfish people. We think the world is made to make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
This all the people in my life, my job, my car, my boyfriend or girlfriend, my kids, my family, everybody and everything in this world is meant to make me happy. And anything that does not make me happy, I'm gonna get mad at, and I have to impose my will on it. And if it doesn't submit to my will and what I want, it doesn't have any place in my life.
Mm. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So, and so this is the biggest thing, and this is, I know we're talking about friendships, but it's just crossing my mind to say it. Marriage, you don't marry, especially in Christian marriages, you don't marry someone because they make you happy. Your happiness is not supposed to be found in another human person. Your happiness is found in Christ, and because of the happiness and joy that you have in Christ, you're able to extend love and grace and compassion and mercy to other people, which allows you to have those strong relationships and those strong friendships. So if you go into a relationship thinking this person is going to make me happy, the moment they stumble, your happiness is gone. And like he was saying, because they no longer make you happy, you're ready to walk away, you're ready to be divorced, and just throw it all away. In marriage, especially when you take a marital covenant, it's not that easy to just be like, well, it shouldn't be that easy to just be like, oh, you made me mad, I'm gonna leave now. Which I've never understood. I'm totally on a tangent, but it just kind of bothered me that irreconcilable differences is a reason to get divorced.
It comes from the Old Testament.
Yeah.
But that's another thing.
Yeah, that's sorry. We digress. So to kind of bring it back, because I know we're gonna need to wrap up soon. When you're dating and looking, to be in a serious relationship, to be in a, long-term relationship that could potentially lead to marriage, focus on first your relationship with Christ, but between the two people, focus on a friendship, because a friendship is based on agape love. And once the eros love has faded and looks have faded, you've gotten older and started getting more ill and having more illnesses, the agape love is what's going to sustain you in that relationship, and that's what's going to keep your marriage going. You know, we have an agape love that, you know, he has to help me up off the chair some days because my knees don't work, or, you know, I'm stuck in bed. I mean, there's been times when I'm like, I can't roll over. He's had to get me out of bed. You know, and on a more serious note, after I've had surgeries, you know, he's had to put, you know, ointment and medicine and, you know, change bandages. I've had to change bandages for him. You know, that's not something you want to do for another person if all you have is an eros love. It takes an agape love to be humble enough to say, oh my gosh, that is gross. Let me go get some alcohol and peroxide to clean this up. Because that's what's going to happen eventually, you know, in a marriage. If you stay together long enough, you're going to be in a situation where at some point you're going to have to be a caretaker and you're going to have to be taken care of. And all of that starts during the dating phase, or even just the friendship phase, by building a solid foundation of friendship.
You're going to have to learn to accept that other person in their mess, whatever that is. Whether they pass gas a lot, or you walk in the bathroom, you walk past the bathroom door after them, or you know, just whatever that funk is, whether it's a mental funk or an emotional funk, you know, they happen to have, you know, display depressive symptoms and, you know, or something like that, or I can't read what she said.
She says eros equals I didn't sign up for illness.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah, that's true.
You're very right.
So yeah, all the mess that they're in when they wake up in the morning, and if, you know, they breathe on you and you have to get used to all of that.
and I don't want the takeaway from this to be that, you know, if you're dating someone and they are literally a hot mess, and not like, you know, I'm human and fallible mess, but like, this is illegal, I'm in danger, you know, that's a different situation. You know, if you're in a relationship that is detrimental to your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health, that's something that you need to run away from. But, you know, the simple things of, you know, I have habits that you don't like, and, you know, eat dinner in the bed, or I watch TV too loud, you know, things like that annoy you. You know, those are things that you can, you know, potentially work past, as long as it's not something that is, you know, endangering you in any way. But not getting into a relationship expecting to change someone to meet the standards that you have. And I was like, let me stop talking, because I was going to talk about standards, and we're going to be here for another hour talking about, so I have to come back and talk about that. So, anyway, I think, oh yeah, good. So I think that's kind of all we wanted to talk about. We, you know, wanted to talk about just, you know, kind of establishing friendships and how important that is when you're seriously dating someone and considering marriage.
Yes. One book to read in case you want to learn how to establish healthy friendships. There's a book called Boundaries. That's exactly what it's called. Boundaries.
Oh, wait, let me show you.
We have this book here laying around somewhere. It's a very good book. I recommend it to a lot of my clients that I see, especially those that have, you know, boundary issues with not only just people that they're not related to, but people that they are related to. In terms of families, boundaries at work, boundaries in your marriage, boundaries, you know, when you're driving, just boundaries in life.
I need boundaries when driving.
You need boundaries everywhere. So it's a very good book. It'll help you learn how to learn more about yourself so that you can establish healthy boundaries when it comes to other people.
And they've written, it's Dr. Cloud and Dr. Townsend. They've written several books kind of in this series. So there's, you know, just general boundaries. There's the boundaries in marriage. And I think there's a boundaries at work. I'm not sure. But I know there's boundaries in marriage. So that's a good one to read, too.
There's even boundaries for kids.
Yes. Yes. And that, I think in that regard, we're all children. There are a lot of people that probably need to read that book. So I'll be adding the books. Good, yes. We got it. It's a good one. I love to read, so I recommend a lot of books. And if I come across, any other books that talk specifically about, relationship building and friendship building, I'll make sure that I come back and add that information. And I know I owe y'all a link from the last video. So, but anyway, we're going to hop off of here so we don't keep you all night. But thank you so much for watching. And we will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We'll update on the time because I think we have a church function tomorrow. So, yeah. So we may have to come on a little bit earlier, but we'll make sure to let you know. But anyway, thanks again. We love y'all. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.